Don't continue to feel stuck day after day, year after year in a job or a career that you are no longer interested in or intrigued by. The average person will work over 90,000 hours in their lifetime. So, one of the most important decisions you'll ever make is what career path you choose. Whether you're chasing a lifelong dream, climbing that corporate ladder, running your own business, maybe even starting an entry-level job fresh out of high school, fresh out of college, it is critical to understand these steps that I'm about to give you to not only fast track your career, but also help you get to where you want to go in life. My name is Jeremiah, and I've had the pleasure of helping hundreds, maybe even thousands of individuals over the last 5 years in my career, navigating what they want to do and the next steps they should take in their career. It has been important for me to also apply these same steps to my career and my journey in life, and it has helped me get several jobs and align my opportunities to my purpose and my plan for what I have for me and my future family. So let's jump into it. You must understand your purpose. And how do we do that? There was a great video that I watched that I don't want to take credit for, so I'll either drop a link in the description or I'll do something to make sure this person that I saw gets the credit. I'm blanking on his name, but he basically talked about 3 P's. You have passion, profitability, and proficiency. If you love something and you're good at it, but you can't make any money off of it, it's probably a hobby, right? But then if you have the love for it and you're making money off of it, but you're not good, then you're probably going to fail. But then if you're good at something and you make money but no love, you're going to be unfulfilled. So you have to have all 3. You got to have passion, which means you love it. You got to have profitability, which means you can make money off of it. And then also you got to have proficiency, which means you're good at it. Once you have those 3, you've now understood your purpose. Now let's jump into the 6 steps on how to fast track your career once you identified your purpose. Step 1, understanding and embracing the Coffee Bean Method. A book written by John Gordon and Damon West, the Coffee Bean Method, basically talks through how we let environments change our structural integrity. And in the book, it makes the comparison of a coffee bean versus an egg versus a carrot. And that carrot put in boiling water will basically soften up, right? But you take that same boiling water and put an egg in it, it'll harden up. But we want to be like the coffee bean where we do neither. Our structural integrity does not change. We actually change the environment around us, and that water becomes coffee. So how can that show up in our day-to-day, right? Any job or any career that we're about to embark upon or embrace, we need to make sure that we're not letting that career or that environment change who we are. We are changing the environment. Which leads me to step 2. We must build and develop relationships early and often. It is so important that we build strong, true, authentic relationships, because relationships is actually one of the greatest currencies, right? You're going to make money, you're going to make a lot of things, you're probably going to get promoted, but who you become and who you associate yourself with is just as important. Your relationships will get you however far you want to go in life. Every job or career that I've had was through a relationship. I was referred into the company or referred into the job. So remember, relationships are super important. Then you want to go into step 3, which is develop a growth mindset. We hear this all the time. You got to have a growth mindset, be open to learning, be open to feedback, right? But it's important that you learn to fail fast and learn from not just your failures, but your success. Why did this work? Why didn't this work? And once you take that and you apply those 3 that I've just given you, you can do this in any environment, any situation, any opportunity that you're about to embark on. Those 3 are the first foundational level steps. These next 3 are something that you want to repeat over and over and over again to stack up, which is why the channel is called Brick by Brick. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. So step 4, attach yourself to the solution of the biggest problem that the company or your client or target audience is facing, right? This builds trust. An example I like to give here is if I'm talking to someone and I'm telling them that, hey, I have really bad migraines. I can't function properly when I have these migraines. When I wake up, I don't want to do anything but cut off the lights and roll over in bed. And they give me some sort of remedy or some sort of vitamin or something that I can take that will help me with this issue. And they solve my problem. I now associate them with a problem solver to health situations. If I ever have another migraine or if somebody else has another migraine, I'm gonna say, hey, you need to talk to this person. And once you started solving big problems for your audience or your customer or your clients, you want to take step 5, which is to quantify and monetize your value. An example I like to give here is when I was in high school, I helped my uncle paint for a living. I guess he didn't paint for a living, but he did it as like a hobby. It was side jobs that we would take over the summer. And it was really word of mouth. People was about to sell their homes and they wanted to paint it before they sold it or needed a fence painted. We take on these small jobs. If we wanted to scale that business and truly understand our worth and increase our value to these customers, we would need to be able to quantify and monetize that value. So an example would be a lady had us come paint her house before she sold it. We should have maybe done some research or even asked her, hey, how much were you planning on selling the house before we painted it versus how much did you sell the house for? Because a paint job probably would increase the value by a certain percentage. Maybe it's 3, 5%, 10%. I don't know. But if we would have done that math, we could have helped one justify our price points because we were charging a couple $100, which is crazy to think about now. But we could have been charging a couple $1,000 to paint a house. And on top of that, it would show our value even more if we were saying, hey, once we paint this house, you're going to be able to sell it for 20% more. Here's why you can charge $2,000 because you're going to make $18,000 or $20,000 more on a $300,000 home, whatever the math may be. But if we were able to quantify and monetize that value in everything that we were doing, we would have been able to not only make ourselves more valuable, but more profitable and more valuable to the customer. And then to step 6, which is the final step and the most important step, you got to chase the lion. Set scary large goals, right? There's a book written by Mark Batterson that talks about chasing the lion. And in that book, he basically explains that when we're not setting these huge, scary goals, we're not only doing ourselves a disservice, but we're doing the credit that we can give to God a disservice. We need goals that would basically scare us and that only God can help us get through. And then once we set those and reach those, we must give him the credit and do it all over again. For example, this channel, if I set a goal to be at 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year and I accomplish it, that's great. But then once I've done that, I got to start the process back over. I got to understand what problems am I solving for my audience, monetize and quantify that value, and then set another goal. Maybe it's 100,000 subscribers by the end of next year or something like that. So once you've completed step 6, you can repeat steps 4, 5, and 6 and continue to chase large, healthy goals, right? And always remember, you must understand and embrace the coffee bean method, build and develop strong relationships quickly and often, develop a growth mindset, attach yourself to the solution of your customers, target audience, clients' biggest problems or challenges, quantify and monetize your value, and chase that lion. Continue to come back to find more tips on how to grow your career and other tips about how to optimize in life.